Thank you, listeners, for joining us. Another terrific edition of our radio show, Elko Live, featuring our local law... Oh, it's really loud. Oh, I'm so sorry, Ty. Featuring local law enforcement. I'm going to adjust his headphones, see if that's better. Okay, so sorry. We had a little issue earlier today. Well, it's the end of the new year. All we can do is get better in 2024, right?
Let's hope it's better.
Yes, exactly. Our City Police Chief, Ty Trouten, and our Elko County Sheriff, Itor Narvaiza, are side by side for our regular law enforcement feature here on KELK. Welcome, both gentlemen. It's great to see you, Sheriff Narvaiza.
Thanks for having us. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Here we are, and Chief Trouten on the doorstep of a brand new year.
Yeah, absolutely. And belated Merry Christmas, but Happy New Year to you. We're just about there.
Thank you. We are, and we hope it's a safe holiday for everybody. We'll kind of throw those safety messages in there as we go. But we'll start with you, Sheriff, because your department has been super busy as usual, but the search and rescue is up, even though the weather's been pretty mild. People are venturing out in the backcountry.
Yeah, that's we were out 4 times in the last couple of weeks. Anywhere from Stag Mountain to Montello area, a couple of times up north, Jarbidge, and so we've been pretty busy. Just ask the people, right now, you get a little bit of snow, it freezes and it thaws out, and so the roads are becoming very muddy, and you're going to venture out in the woods or roads, make sure you tell your family where you are, and if you do get stuck, please stay with the vehicle. We had an individual that tried to walk out and got hurt, so we had to go up to Jarbidge, and so stay with the vehicle because we always find the vehicle, and we'll be there. So just stay with the vehicle and just be cautious of your surroundings, your roads, and the snow and stuff.
File your trip plans so people know where you're going, when you plan to get back, and then they can send someone out to that area, and hopefully you haven't ventured too far. Cell phone coverage is extremely unreliable in these backcountry areas, so... Yeah,
so you just got to walk out, find cell service, and like I said, either let your family know cell service, and then get back to your vehicle because we always find the vehicles no matter what.
Yep, and pack for any kind of condition. Put your sleeping bag, some food, some water, just stuff you need so that you can stay warm and fed for at least a couple days in case it takes that long to find you. So just some backcountry advice while we're out enjoying this mild weather. And then veering into the city of Elko, we know, Chief, that your officers have been busy as well, recovering some guns, and there was a significant arrest here yesterday on West Adams.
Yeah, kind of an abnormal call for the typical genre calls we get, but it comes in as a residential armed robbery. A little bit of confusion and understandable now knowing the full story, but essentially what happened, there was some construction workers out working in the street. One of the subjects we're very familiar with walked up behind the vehicle, approached the driver, made a statement about, oh, you're from Idaho because of the plates on the truck, and then lifted up his shirt and pulled a gun, and then essentially I think realized that there's other workers right there in the immediate area. So he leaves and walks right into a residence right nearby. Subject was taken into custody, basically got some of the folks out of the house, were able to get him out of the house. He had tried to hide the gun. We recovered the gun. It was stolen locally here. He is a prohibited person, not allowed to have firearms. Of course, carrying concealed, another charge, and just really a stupid crime, but it just goes to show this was early afternoon yesterday. I mean, crimes can happen at any time. Why we always stress to people, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of what's going on, different things like that. Take measures just to protect yourself.
Yeah, and it sounds like the worker did just the right thing. I mean, took responsibility, called in the report, even though he or she may not have been actually injured by the incident, but that's a serious threat.
Well, and that was kind of the oddity, is they'd had a coworker make the call, so she's making the report secondhand, hence why when she said it was at 136 or whatever the address was there, it sounded like it's in a residence, and in fact, it was out in front there. But yeah, thankfully nobody hurt, nobody injured, but we've served some search warrants here recently, recovered more stolen guns. The sad part, many of these individuals prohibited from having them. They're supposed to be reporting, checking in with parole, probation, different things like that. In fact, that's why many of them are wanted, because they're not. For us, it's a little bit disheartening because, again, we do our utmost to catch these folks. They're convicted, they're given sentences, but then it really doesn't change any of their actions out on the street. Like I said, this gentleman yesterday, we've dealt with him numerous times.
And it does underscore the importance of securing guns because, again, they're stealing them, they're breaking into people's vehicles.
Yep, again, stolen vehicles are on the rise. It's that time of year. Just downtown this morning, and there's somebody running in to grab a cup of coffee, and their vehicle sitting outside running, unattended. People still leaving guns in their vehicles. That happened here this last weekend as well. Vehicle taken with a couple guns in it. Really, you got to be careful. I mean, I've said this before, but the criminals are just out there wandering, looking for the opportunities. They find a vehicle they can steal, they'll steal it. If your guns are in there, those are gone. And we recover a large majority of them, but not all of them. And they can exit this area quite quickly. We've seen that happen where they end up in Texas and California, and sometimes have been across the border and back in that time.
Right. So just a reminder. And then obviously, Sheriff, I know your department's been working on trying to resolve this issue with people driving by and shooting in Spring Creek. This is really unnerving. We've had some close calls.
Yeah, it's been ongoing for a while now. We haven't had one. And, we've working with the detectives with the local police department and our detectives, and it'll come around. They got some suspect vehicles, and we're just waiting for the right tip to lead us in that direction. And hopefully we can get this knucklehead in custody and go from there, because eventually one of these times, whether it's intentional or not, somebody's going to get hurt, So it's and it's tough to catch somebody just pulling up in the middle of the night, shooting randomly. It's just tough.
And it doesn't seem like there's any connection, Sheriff?
No, we've worked it for a while, and we believe it's the same individual. I know they met with detectives from the PD the other day, so they're all working on it. We've asked for help with the Rocky Mountain information, so we're working with that too as well. So hopefully we get the right tip, and we can deal with this guy.
Yeah, because there's been at least a dozen incidents,
Yeah.
and again, it's in a drive-by or someone shoots at homes, and they're occupied homes.
Yeah, most of them were not, but they were, all the bullets, they were like into the garage. They weren't into like the main windows or doors or anything. They were up hot towards the high portion of the roof or the garage. So it's just, I just hope he just catches this guy real soon.
So again, just putting out the information to Spring Creek area residents. Not sure if there's a specific area, Sheriff, that you're looking at.
All of ours been in the housing section. So obviously this guy probably lives out in that area. So we just ask all people, if you see something suspicious, early in the morning, a vehicle that you're not familiar with, or you hear something, give us a call.
And that's where surveillance can come in handy, right?
Yes, we've got a lot of those houses that got cameras or those doorbell cams, and we've gone through and we've caught the vehicle, but it's just a blur, and you really can't make out the make or the color. So we do have the vehicle on video, but we just can't make out the make or the model or the color it is, because it's on that dark black and white video.
Okay, so just to put Spring Creek area residents, not on high alert certainly, but at least a dozen of these instances. And fortunately, as you said, most have been properties that weren't occupied. But again, these are homes, families live there, Sheriff. This is very concerning.
It's very concerning. Just to do it just for fun, it's just not right.
All right. So suspect vehicle, suspect type of weapon that's being used, or gun, we should say. Then, well, yeah. Okay, so anyone with information should call.
Yeah, if anybody sees or knows of anything or hears anything in the middle of the night, any shots fired or anything, please give us a call. We'll respond.
Okay. We know the police department works really closely with the sheriff's department. Ty, anytime there are instances like this, the city has not been immune from this type of thing?
Yeah, correct. Well, we kind of, I don't want to say joke about it, but jokingly refer to the fact that, the criminals in the county are often the criminals in the city. They don't care about jurisdictional boundaries or anything. And the sheriff's office, police department, other first responder agencies, we collaborate on so many things. This last year, the trainings for active shooters, different things like that. It's just imperative we have to. And of course, out here in rural Nevada, we're all there is. There's no, big brother city next door to us that have all the resources. So We try to help each other out as often as we can, as much as we can. In fact, I think we've got a meeting going on this afternoon on that very topic between our agencies. Just the way to do things, like I said, and pool resources. But, the sheriff said it, and we've had instances, over the years where there's kids with BB guns doing such things, or, they got one of these look-alike guns doing such things. That is a very dangerous thing to do in this community. First, it really draws an emotional reaction from the victims. But secondly, this is rural Nevada, and there's a lot of people who, as we were discussing earlier, have CCWs and carry armed, sometimes open carry, whatever. It's going to end poorly. I mean, I really, the motivation behind these drive-bys is puzzling, because it's an absurdly ridiculous, dangerous thing to do. And literally, they're gambling with their life. Catch the wrong person, they might find rounds coming back at them. So, again, as the sheriff said, if you have information, if you have, something to offer on this, no matter how meager you think it may be, share that with us, because we would like to see these things stopped and, hold the individual accountable, but just to guarantee the safety of all people involved.
Our City Police Chief Ty Trouten alongside our Sheriff Itor Narvaiza here on the radio show today. And again, we'll just keep reminding people until whoever this individual or the people responsible are, are apprehended.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's important. So thank you, Sheriff. And that brings us to probably another good point where we can check in. Last time we talked, you were able to enhance jail operations thanks to the generosity of county commissioners in providing near 24-hour medical on site.
Yeah, Recon came in at there towards the end, last month and first of the month, and they've been doing a great job. We have a full-time nurse, and that's there all day, and then we have another part-time nurse that's there till early in the morning. So it saves us. They've already, instead of us having to transport people to the hospital, we can do everything more right there at the jail now. So it saves us the time and the transport and the staff to transport inmates to facilities. So they've been doing a very good job. They're very pleased.
And Sheriff, how would you say the incidence of violence or fighting, how's it going in the jail right now?
The thing in the jail, we had a large fight last month. I believe one individual talked 6-7 inmates to go in there and beat up an individual, and they battered him pretty well. Well, after reviewing the cameras in the cells, we actually, jail staff actually did report, send them to the district attorney's office, and some of those subjects been arrested on warrants and charged with battery on inmates where there are felonies, and their bail's been $100,000. So Tyler, the DA, they did a good job with it. We used the video to catch everybody, and so they'll be charged criminally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of safety and security is concerning, not just for the inmates, but obviously, they're serving different types of sentences, Sheriff, but for your staff.
Yeah, the thing is, how do you say, like each cell block has like the number one guy in there. And inmates have different roles than we do. There's just certain things inmates you don't do as an inmate in jail. So you fall into a little clique, and this guy says, hey, this guy needs an attention getter or whatever. He narked us off, whatever. So you get one clown who tells the other 6 clowns to do something. So the 6th guys get in trouble, and this guy's like, I don't know what they're talking about, So everybody's got to follow a bad leader and make bad choices, and it happens. You follow a stupid leader, you get stupid jail time.
Well, and it's not just within the jail, too. We know, Ty, that, your officers are trying to resolve an issue involving a bar fight in October. Somebody was hit in the head with a bottle and seriously, critically hurt.
Yeah, indeed. And what we often see a lot of times on these calls, a lot of the fights, they'll end up occurring outside, or, they may start in the bar with an argument, whatever, but they'll follow outside, or they get moved from one bar to another. And typically nobody wants to cooperate with law enforcement. And it's very similar to what we deal with in a lot of our PSAs. People think that's all fine until they're the ones who are the victim of that crime. And, now facing huge medical bills, life-altering injuries, things like that. I'm one of those folks, I like to see people enjoy as much freedom as possible, but with that freedom comes accountability and responsibility. We've tried to work quite closely with the bars, make sure they're doing their job per their liquor license appropriately, that they're calling in fights and problems. I've shared with each new liquor owner and with the different bars as we go to them, if you have, tension brewing within the bar, call and ask for us to come through and just do a walkthrough, do a security check. Our presence tends to calm people down, maybe just end things. We want people to go out, be able to enjoy themselves, have a good time. This is a big weekend for that with New Year's coming up. But again, you have to be responsible. You have to be a good citizen in a lot of these things. So, we'll get to the bottom of it eventually, get everyone identified. But, again, folks, when they're drinking, a lot of times make very poor decisions.
That's a good point too. Sheriff Ty Trouten, or got Sheriff Itor Narvaiza, Police Chief Ty Trouten, and talking about, over-serving. We do have 24/7, basically, alcohol consumption. And, casinos don't generally seem to contribute to the issue. Or, is that a fair assumption?
Generally, I don't think you see the same, type of drinking in casinos. It does occur from time to time. They're very good about removing people if they're a problem, if they're, overserved, time for them to go. Unfortunately, for a lot of these bars, and it's been very difficult, especially since COVID, a lot of them are trying to make, that profit to sustain their business and so forth. But that's, it's very critical. And what I've shared with them is, look, honestly, if I were a bar owner, I would have a closing time. I'd want to attract my crowd early in the evening, have them have an enjoyable evening, and then shut the doors and be done with them. Some of these places, as they go from one bar to the next, because there's certain places still open, they consume more, folks are less rational, and we have more problems.
And that is certainly an issue that could be decided by the future city council. We know, Chief. You don't make these recommendations. Often the business owners are very good at, if you will, policing themselves, following these because they don't want to be told of a closing time or a last call.
Yeah, we have some bar owners, some establishments that are phenomenal. It's rare if we have a call there, and usually it's because somebody lost a wallet and somebody else picked it up. It's not for the bar fights, the typical type of things you imagine. And then we have other places that just seem to have an abnormally high number of those. You can remember over the years we've had liquor licenses revoked for certain bars because they're not following the rules, not doing those things. From my perspective, I don't want to put anybody out of business. I don't want to see them lose their liquor license. But again, you've been given a privilege to have that. You need to be accountable for that and just do the right thing. And to me, I think it would pay off on the back end, because we see some of these establishments that don't have problems. They have a continual clientele basis because it's a safe place to go out and enjoy an evening and not have to worry about getting involved in a fight or drug into something or, any other type of crime. You can just go have an enjoyable evening. So again, I think it behooves the bar owners to just do the right thing. They will come out ahead on it.
Yeah, I think you're right. We can think of many bar owners in the Elko area doing just that, and we'll make it a safe New Year's Eve. So, Sheriff, how about in the county? Do you have any issues with establishments? How are things going?
Being in the county, we don't have as many pubs as the city does. We have the whiting hole, the scoreboard, but we don't have the issues with the clientele. They go there and they drink, they party. I don't believe we responded to a fight in Spring Creek in one of those establishments in a long, long time. But, the ones in Spring Creek are more locals, from that area, and they all know each other. And like the chief said, they do a pretty good job of patrolling themselves,
And we just have to remind everybody again, if you are planning to have a party, host a party, or attend a party, just make sure you can have a plan to get home safely, offer some alternatives, to drinking. I guess, marijuana, that does offer a problem though. A lot of people are driving under the influence, but they're buzz driving, so.
Yeah, we just had an individual day before yesterday got arrested for driving under the influence of marijuana, and it was pretty bad. Driving under the influence of marijuana is the same as driving under the influence of alcohol. It's you get the same penalties, and you be charged criminally just the same. It's just the higher mammograms, I believe. That's what they go under the marijuana laws. But if you're under the influence, you're under the influence, whether it's narcotics or alcohol.
Yeah, and you can certainly die behind the wheel or kill somebody else with your vehicle. So that's the most important thing too. talking with our sheriff, and we just wanted to also shift gears a little bit and just recap an incident right before the holiday. Sheriff, your deputies were involved and had a lot of assistance from area law enforcement in this pursuit out of Wells with a stolen vehicle.
Yeah, we had a vehicle was stolen out of Green River, Wyoming. Deputy spotted it in Wells as a male and female. Deputies attempted to stop the vehicle where it fled, and then went out through the Star Valley Road, and it went through some fences, through a lot of properties. Deputies backed off a little bit because of the roads and the damage it was causing to the physical to the trucks. One of our deputies' vehicles became immobilized when it got ran over a bunch of wire from the fence that the suspect dragged, and got caught up in the drive line and stuff. And so then we spotted the vehicle vacant. We found it, and then we searched through the willows, and we gave up after about 6, 7 o'clock that night, and then they were spotted again that night. And so we went back out and looked, and the next morning we went back out, and we were pretty fortunately, the nice thing about the next morning was our Elko combined SWAT team, the sheriffs and the PD SWAT, they were training. It was a training day for them, so we placed the call, and they all hauled up there, and we had fish and game out there, and they were set on a hill with high-powered spotting scopes, and they saw the individual hiding in the bushes, and they directed the SWAT team towards the individual and was taken in custody without no incident. So, a huge shout out to Fish and Game and Highway Patrol and the SWAT team and deputies and police officers. Like the chief said, when something bad happens, we have to come together and do our jobs. And our job is to go home and at the end of the shift.
Oh, yeah, and I bet those suspects won't soon forget Elko County because they got just about every response you can imagine, whether or not they knew that was...
Well, the scary part about that is, the area residents.
Yes, it's in a ranching community.
My job, I knew all the ranchers, so I just went from house to house to house to house, and I warned them all. And like Chief Trouten was talking earlier, you're a rural county, you got ranch. This guy would have attempted to steal a vehicle. I don't think it would have come out so good for him. I even got calls from a couple of ladies in Star Valley. Hey, Sheriff, we were ready for him, So the whole community come together, and 2 were taken into custody, and without nobody getting hurt. But Fish and Game did a very good job. They don't get involved in stuff like that. Normally it's us, but when something bad happens, Chief Trout and I, we don't care what your uniform is as long as you're there to help and help through the situation.
Oh, that's nice, Itor. That's really, that is the spirit of law enforcement in Elko County. And I know that both departments are recruiting right now, so it's sometimes tough to fill vacancies. Chief, how are you doing in that department?
Well, I was looking back. I've been with the department for about 26 years, or involved with it for 26, full-time 24. I don't think we've ever had a year in which we've hired this high a number of individuals, and yet we still have openings. The difficult part is we've got a lot of folks, and we've got some more retirements coming up and so forth, but it seems like we're keeping pace with hiring as we have somebody retire and things, but man, it is certainly more difficult. I came across an old email to the former chief probably 5-6 years ago, and we had, I think, 50 applicants for a position. And, now we're lucky if we get 10 applicants for a position. So it is more difficult. That's one of the things we're working on this new year. We've been working with a local recruiting agency or local firm for recruiting. Should have some new videos coming out and so forth, things to help people see what the Elko Police Department is, what we're about. Hopefully attract some talent, not just from the local area, but from all over the country, essentially.
And we know, Sheriff, you need investigators, right? That's a very specialized position.
Yeah, we just promoted Crystal Cox to Front Patrol to detective, and then we just promoted Avil, who just came in from the military. He's been in Guantanamo for the last year, so he was promoted to sergeant, so he's going to be helping out Lieutenant Fisher. We're ready to hire 4, but I'm going to lose to the retirement, so I'm going to I got deputies retiring January 17th and January 10th, so we gain 4, but then we lose 2, so we're only 2 ahead. So it's just, like Chief said, we've hired a lot of people leave. And it's just a process, but.
Well, Sheriff and Chief and both of you have been in local law enforcement, for a few decades between the two of you. Sometimes you make threatening statements like you're thinking you, Chief, he's laughing because he'll kind of come dragging in here. And I always like to make you laugh, so that's good.
I always talk about, the 3 bad day rule. I'm at a point where I could retire. I still have some things I want to get accomplished and see done before I go. But, sometimes it does look tempting. One of the things the sheriff kind of alluded to, but it's not just as simple of, somebody retires and you can hire somebody and you're up running where you were. It literally takes a year just of training before they're really out on their own just doing the basic patrol job. And so as you have detectives retire, I'm about to lose a phenomenal detective here in January. Well earned, has my best blessings in retirement, but he's going to leave a big hole within my agency. And it takes time for officers to, learn the job, become proficient, gain the knowledge base, the experience, the additional trainings to become a detective. So, every time you lose somebody, it's not just a body and a position. It's a pretty critical loss. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they've spent decades and they've devoted their whole professional career to our community, Chief. And it's, that's really, it means a lot to us because we've been safe for the most part.
What happens is you lose the knowledge. You take the detective that's going to retire. He's been here forever, done a lot of great sexual crimes, and
Investigations.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Worked on sexual crimes,
Yes.
Gosh, but he's going to retire, and you lose that knowledge. We're going to lose one in the courthouse. Detective Huddleston's out of here January 17th. He's been here 20 plus years. He's leaving, so of course.
I remember when he was hired. That can't be.
It's been over 20 years, so
Okay.
he's getting ready to pull the plug, and then we got another one that's going to pull the plug, and so we can hire, but then by the time you think you get ahead, and like Chief said, by the time you get them to post, and by the time you get them all trained up, you're looking FTO and Police Academy, you're looking 34 weeks.
And for good reason.
Yeah,
we're not just pulling people off the street, Sheriff.
Yeah, so it's like Chief said, by the time you get them solo, it's a year out,
So, and Sheriff, you've spent a great deal of time, obviously, in law enforcement, and you have the tough job of everything stops with you. I mean, you're an elected official.
Yeah, it's, and I wouldn't trade it in. I really love my job. Even if I wasn't the sheriff, if I was still on patrol, I'd still love my job. Ty and I got great staff. We're not perfect by all means. We try to do what's best for the city, the county, and the staff, but sometimes it just don't go the right way, people get upset, emotions or whatever, and, Ty and I have to hold people accountable, and that's part of being the administrator of the PD and the Sheriff's Department, so. But, I went to the academy in 92, with Murphy, and I was hired on in 94 when I was a reserve at the Elko Police Department, so I've been here a long time.
Yeah, definitely. And you've been an officer, too. You came up through the ranks, Chief, so.
Yeah, we both started as reserves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Ty and I went on the SWAT team the same day. We tested together and everything, so we got a lot of, we work well together.
Got some miles on, and you're going to continue because you're sheriff for at least 3 more years.
Yes,
And do you face term limits?
No.
I didn't think so.
No, Nevada doesn't have term limits.
Okay.
Other states have term limits, but Nevada doesn't.
When it comes to sheriff, yes. Very important.
So we're just going to keep working and, try to move the department the right way and try to make everybody happy and sit down with Ty and we'll figure out what we got going on and we'll make this community safer.
And then you are answer to the city council as an appointed official, and we've got a city election coming up, 2 positions at least.
2 positions, and one, she has reached her term limits, Councilwoman Simon, so she's done a great job. She's, I really enjoy watching her work and stuff because she's very sharp, very attentive to things people say, and I've seen people go in there and I think just presume they could pull kind of the wool over her eyes, and she's paying very strict attention and nails them. So enjoy that. I think she's done a great job. Former police chief and councilman Claire Morris, he's coming up for election this time as well.
He said he's running.
Yep, which is good. I enjoy having him. He's actually one of my liaisons to the city council, and it's great because we speak the same language. He's well versed in a lot of the issues, both with Elko Police Department and the Elko Sheriff's Office, former undersheriff, and so that makes it very easy in a lot of respects. And he understands terminology and things. It's always difficult helping people understand what our job is, why we do things the way we do, different things like that. So
Claire's always solid. I've liked that man since him and Neil hired me a long time ago. I have the most respect for Claire. He's just a great guy. Like the chief said, he knows cop stuff.
Well, and I know his stories that he told growing up as a little boy on West Pine Street. So there you go. So so he's local for sure.
So he has the knowledge, and he's going to do a great job.
Yeah. So, well, there we are. We're on the doorstep. I want to make sure we had a chance just to pause for any goals or anything that you wanted to outline before, because we'll meet again. We do this every month. It's always great to see you both. Anything you'd like to accomplish the new year, Sheriff?
No, I'd just like to say thanks for having us all the time. It's nice to get out here, talk to the community, and see what issues we have. And if you have an issue with staff or department or something that's going on in the county, please feel free to come in. My door is always open, and we can chat.
Yeah, the same goes here. One of the things I think I shared with you, we were talking about year-end reports. We're going to change ours a bit this year. I want to include some national stats because I think that's a question a lot of people know. You can say how many you have of a certain type of crime, but unless they have something to compare that to, how does that stack up to the rest of the country or some areas? Because we do have a good community here, we do have crime here, but I think we're a relatively safe community, especially compared to so many others. And we've taken a lot of steps. This last year we formalized the crime suppression unit. They've been doing a great job, routinely taking down offenders and stuff and catching people in the acts. Looking forward to seeing the stats. I think we're going to have a pretty good. We really depressed our property crime stats last year, and I believe we probably held those down there. We also have a very high recovery rate, stolen vehicles. I know we just got another stolen vehicle recovered last night. So, good things. But, as the sheriff said, and we've talked about it before, we really rely upon the community. They are the eyes, they are the ears. Call us if you have concerns, come see us. Just got off the phone a little while ago trying to explain, that after roughly 2019, 2020, there's been a lot of changes to the laws. And especially here in Nevada, we cannot do some of the things that we used to be able to do. We can't just arrest on a misdemeanor anymore. There's some prerequisites on that. And it does make it difficult. I know it's frustrating. You see a lot of angst in the community about people not staying in jail until trial, things like that. It'd be great if we could have a community-wide class and get everybody together and explain these things to them. You do see some responses from our district attorney and stuff from time to time, but we have good judges. We have an excellent district attorney. The law enforcement here is doing their utmost. But some of the parameters we're operating under, it makes it very difficult. So looking forward to the new year, I think. And one of the things, we just had a crisis intervention team training here locally. NAMI was a driving force in getting that. We're going to have another one coming up here in March.
Saw that.
Which is good. That training is focused on helping first responders, from dispatchers, even records techs and stuff, but to recognize folks who are in a kind of a mental health crisis and how best to deal with them, but also really tie them into local resources and get them help, as opposed to just arresting people sometimes and hauling them to jail, which again we know doesn't really do anything to help them and usually harms them a little bit. So we're trying to help our community on that front. That's a big one coming up. The staffing, the succession, like I said, I've got to have some big holes this year to try and backfill in. And on the good side, just had some new people come on board, had a new records tech come on board, had another officer sworn in here on Tuesday. Kind of a local here. Went away to school, been back, and looking forward to getting him on board. I'll be sending 2 down to the academy this time. One of them, Michaela, she's been with us for a couple years now, working as a records tech, and had intimated when she got hired she was looking to become an officer, and she has made that a reality. So they will both be excellent. And then also just promoted Logan Gibbs to corporal. So he came to us about 12 years experience from Nye County. Great guy, very well experienced, former SWAT detective, things like that. So get things happening. But again, it's just trying to keep that succession going, keeping people in place, and making sure they're the highest quality individuals we can find.
Well, thanks, Chief Trouten. Tyler Trouten is our Elko City Police Chief, and alongside our Sheriff, Itor Narvaiza. Gentlemen, we wish you the best in the new year. And as I said, you'll be back. You come back at least once a month. But thank you so much for keeping us safe, keeping the peace, and having the leadership and the vision that we need to inspire the men and women who work within your departments.
Thanks for having us, Laurie. Appreciate it. Happy New Year's.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Yeah, thank you, Lori. And again, to the public, Happy New Year. Please
Be safe.
make an extra effort. Be safe. Do the right thing.